Well, this is about the third time I've tried to make this video. I don't know why I'm feeling incoherent today. I keep hitting a wall where I just stop. I stop talking and my brain stops feeding my mouth words. And then I can't go on anymore and I have to stop the video and go right back to the beginning. But, hopefully, this will work this time. Right, in this video I'm going to be answering the questions I was asked in my business video at long last. Before I get on to that, to all of my new subscribers, thank you very much indeed. I am sorry that I can't get back to you individually at the moment, but there's quite a lot of you coming day by day. I imagine riding the wave of this vote bot nonsense, but thank you once again. Right then, let's see what profane and perverse nonsense you've been asking me. Sean270674 asks, what is your opinion on the final US season of Generation 1 Transformers, and do you prefer the Japanese Headmasters cartoon to it? Well, the final season of Generation 1 Transformers had a lot of problems, just like the season that preceded it. The third season of Transformers, it has one or two episodes that are actually some of the very best you'll find of the Generation 1 cartoons, full stop, but the rest are some of the very worst. And Season 4 is problematic for a number of reasons. One of the principal problems with it are the constraints that are placed on how much characterization they could give to the new Autobots and Decepticons that turn up. They just appear out of nowhere. Because, of course, they had a lot of new toys from the 1987 and 1988 ranges to promote the Headmasters and the Target Masters and all those guys. And for the most part, they're just there, and they don't really do much. Most of them don't even speak. And those that do are fairly poorly characterized. And this is a huge problem. Also, the animation is shocking in the Rebirth episodes. It really is. The character designs are awful. There are miscolorations all over the place. I mean, look at the Optimus Prime, how he appears in the Rebirth. He changes very, very quickly from one scene to another. There are miscolorations all over him, and his face is really strange. It's all blobby and inconsistent. You also have things like Autobots turning up in Decepticon ranks, Decepticons turning up amongst the Autobots, characters that should be dead turning up in the background. The aerial bots are shot down at least 3 times before the end. Yes, there are lots of problems with the Rebirth, but there are elements of it I quite like. I like the way that the creation of the Headmasters and Target Masters is handled. That's rather interesting, and I like the Nebulons very much as well. That's kind of cool. I certainly prefer it to the way they're introduced in the Japanese Headmasters series, where they're just small Transformers. There's really nothing else to it. Now, the Japanese Headmasters series is fairly interesting. The animation is a lot better than you get in the Rebirth. But there are lots of elements that don't translate well to a Western English audience. There are elements of the story that are just bizarre and abstruse, and the characterization is also so different from what we're used to. The characters are completely different from how they are portrayed in all of the Western continuities. Like Chrome Dome, for example. In the Western continuities, Chrome Dome is this quiet academic, very retiring, who doesn't like fighting very much. Whereas in the Headmaster series, he's the complete opposite. He's very much like Hot Rod. And that jars. It takes a while to get used to that. There's also some piss poor characterization amongst the Decepticons. For the most part, they're idiots. The Decepticons in Headmasters are complete morons, apart from characters like Six-Shot and Scorponok. And even they have their moments. And also the bizarre comedy moments. They make you really bare your teeth. And if you're talking about watching Headmasters with the god-awful English dubs on it, then just forget it. Those dubs, I mean, generally English dubs on anime films or on Japanese cartoons are awful. But that one, the dubbing for that series is the worst I have ever come across. It's hideous. However, what I do like about Headmasters is that it's an ongoing saga. It is episodic, but it's an ongoing saga, so story elements carry over across the season. That's nice, rather than the sort of weapon of mass destruction of the week that you used to get in the Western Generation 1 cartoons. You also have genuine character development. A lot of the characters change over the course of the series, which is nice. That's kind of cool to see, and it's something that's characteristic of Japanese cartoons. It's also very nice to see there are casualties in this war. There are lots of anonymous Transformers in Headmasters that are killed off quite graphically, which is nice. And a lot of the big name characters are also killed off, which is it's really rather cool. It's good to see that there are at long last casualties of this war between the Autobots and the Decepticons, barring of course in the fucking movie. And you also see human beings die as a result of the war between the Autobots and the Decepticons in Headmasters. That's interesting as well. Which do I prefer? It's hard to say. I like elements of both, and I dislike elements of both. Overall, I think I prefer the Rebirth simply because it's more coherent as a story. My fellow plastic crack addict Wolfgang1 asks, do you think it was wrong on any level for Keith Harris to make a career out of sticking his hand up the arse of a green duck in a nappy? To be quite blunt, I think the fact that Keith Harris has a career at all is just wrong. But with regards to his sticking his hand up the backside of a green duck, well, it's a very complicated question, isn't it? I mean, was the duck in a position where it could consent? And if you think about it, Orville is always portrayed in a nappy, isn't he? Which suggests he may have actually been underage. What is the age of consent for a duck? My knowledge in this area is vague. I don't know how the law applies to ducks. But if I had my money, Keith Harris would have been arrested a long time ago just for being Keith Harris. King Latho, Your Highness, asks, when it's down to the last round and you're to go out in a blaze of glory, what circumstances do you desire? Well, I never saw myself going out in a blaze of glory. I never saw myself going out at all, to be quite honest. I plan on being immortal. By whatever means I can find, be it scientific or occult. The experiments are ongoing. But if I do have to go out, then I prefer to go out rather quietly, actually. I'd rather just disappear somewhere. I'd like to wander off into a desert or a forest or something and then never return and trail myth behind me. If my disappearance became a matter of myth, that would be really cool. What else have we got here? If you could relive a single day or moment, what would it be? Interesting. Do you mean any day out of my life or any day out of history? Because that's a tricky one. I don't know. Any day out of my own life. Ooh. I wouldn't want to relive any day out of my own life. They're gone. They're done with now. I prefer to be here, on the cutting edge of my own history, if you like. I like who I am now. I like who I am now far better than I've liked any of my previous incarnations, and there have been many. As I say, I am immortal. I have lived for many, many years. And I like the notion of living immediately in the here and now, of myself being a product of the contingency of selves that has led up to this. All previous selves are dead. I mean, there's an author I love called Clive Barker, and in one of his, I think it's in the introduction to the Books of Blood, which is a short story collection of his, he describes us as graveyards of our own dead selves. And I love that. I think that's so beautifully poetic. All the people who I was before are dead. They're gone. I am this human being talking here and now, and I'm quite satisfied with that. I don't want to relive any particular day. Rockaware asks, why are you so damn awesome? Well, awesomeness is as awesomeness does. I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of nature or nurture. Are there any studies into the development of awesomeness? I don't know.